You have outspoken critics of the Fed. I got the premier outspoken Federal Reserve critic, former Republican Congressman and candidate for President Ron Paul, joining me now. Doctor, great to see you again. So what do you think of the decision today?
Well, it's all silly stuff. Now they're already starting anticipating what's going to happen in 6 weeks. When's the next rise? We've been anticipating this minuscule rise in the interest rates for months, if not years, and here it is, and everybody's trying to figure it out. But it just brings back to me the whole notion of the system. And as I always say, the Federal Reserve System. Where in the world did we get this notion that central economic planning is a good idea in a free society?
Right.
They do not know what proper interest rates should be. They can't know what they are, and it's all mischief, and they're always tinkering, and there's dozens of bubbles out there and gross distortions and malinvestments, and it's financed so much debt, and it's coming to an end. I think the next debate and discussion will...
You obviously weren't listening to Janet Yellen, who said the economy's doing just fine. The reason that she's raising the rates for the first time in 9 years is because she thinks everything's coming up roses, or at least it looks pretty good. What do you say to that?
Yeah. Well, then she even says that she doesn't anticipate that there'll be a recession. Well, there's already a recession for half our population. If you look at the labor participation rate,
right.
If you look at how many people live at home when they're 26 years old, and the whole goal, her goal, I think, is fictitious because there's a lot of inflation and people suffer.
Well, sure
the CPI, though.
Yeah, we all
they can control that.
Anybody who shops at a grocery store or pays tolls, everything is going up that you have to pay for. Yes, things are coming down that you don't necessarily need every day, like a new computer, but generally speaking, day-to-day stuff is going up. By the way, to support your point about the Fed not being a great predictor of future events, here's what Ben Bernanke said just as we were about to have the financial meltdown, and I'm quoting him, "I do not expect insolvency or near insolvency among major financial institutions." That was in December 2007, just before the financial collapse.
Yes, and if you're a contrarian, you don't have much difficulty to figure out what you should believe. But this whole notion, and to me it's a moral position as well, why should a government deliberately set a goal of debasing their currency by 2% a year, and sometimes it gets to be 3 or 5 or 10 or 15? That's immoral, it's illegal, it's theft, it's taxation, and it doesn't do any good. It doesn't produce any economic growth. It impoverishes the middle class, it destroys the middle class, and it serves the purpose of defending and bailing out. The Federal Reserve bails out the wealth.
Dr. Paul,
well, stocks did well today, so who's getting the benefit of all this mischief?
Well, Wall Street clearly is. I don't know about Main Street.